Ethan Cale had learned one rule in deep space. If a place looked rich, it was dangerous. That the checkpoint station in front of him looked very rich. It hung above a blue-white gas giant, like a shining ring, wide as a city. Rows of lights ran along its frame. Clean ships moved in perfect lines, guided by silent beams. Everything about it said order, power, and no mercy. Ethan's small cargo shuttle drifted forward with the slow push of its weak engines. The hull was old. The paint was scratched. It looked like a ship no one would notice. That was the plan. A cold voice came through the radio, sharp and calm. Unregistered vessel. Hold position. Prepare for scan. Ethan swallowed. He kept his hands open on the controls so the station cameras could see he was not reaching for anything. "Copy," he said, keeping his voice simple. "I'm a traitor." "Just passing." No answer. A beam of light swept over his shuttle, moving from nose to tail. His screens flickered as the scan pushed into every hidden part of his ship. Ethan tried to stay still. He had fake papers. A fake cargo list. A fake story, but he also had a past, and he never knew when the past would find him. The scan ended. For 1 second, everything was quiet. Then his console screamed. A red symbol flashed across his screen, an icon he did not recognize, like a crown inside a circle. The station alarms answered it, loud enough to shake his ship. Ethan's heart jumped into his throat. "What is that?" he whispered, not to anyone, just to the empty cockpit. The radio came alive again, but this time it was not one voice. It was many voices speaking fast in a language Ethan did not know. He caught only a few translated words from his auto unit. Royal, confirmed, human, secure. A hard click sounded under his seat. His ship's engines shut down. He pushed the throttle, but nothing happened. "Hey," Ethan said, heat rising in his chest. "I'm not a threat. I can explain." The station voice returned, colder now. "Do not move. Do not resist. You will be escorted." The word escorted should have sounded calm. But a moment later, 3 black patrol ships slid out from behind the station. Like knives, they did not aim their guns away. They aimed them at him. Ethan raised his hands again. His mouth went dry. He forced a small laugh, even though it didn't feel funny. "Okay, escort is good. I like escort." A tractor beam locked on. His shuttle was pulled forward, smooth and unstoppable, into a wide docking bay. Metal doors closed behind him, sealing his ship inside. He expected guards to storm in, bind him, and throw him into a cell. Instead, the docking bay was silent. Then a single line of soldiers appeared from a side door. Their armor was white and gold, polished, like mirror stone. Their helmets had narrow dark visors that hid their eyes. Each one carried a long weapon with a glowing edge. They moved like one body, trained and careful. The leader stepped close to Ethan's ramp. A translation chip in the leader's chest clicked on. "Human. Exit the vessel. Walk slowly." Ethan's thoughts raced. Human. They said it like it mattered. Like it was rare. Like it was trouble. He stepped down the ramp. The cold air of the station hit his face. It smelled clean, almost sweet. Nothing like the old ports he usually visited. 2 soldiers flanked him. Another scanned his wrists. A soft field wrapped around him, not tight, but firm, like invisible hands. "Am I under arrest?" Ethan asked. The leader paused. "You are under protection," the translator said. But the leader's tone did not match the word. It was tense, almost afraid. Protection from what? Ethan wanted to ask, but he did not. They guided him through long halls with high ceilings. The walls were bright, covered with lines of art that looked like stars bending into shapes. Ethan saw workers and officers stop and stare as he passed. Some looked shocked. Some looked angry. Some looked like they were seeing a ghost. Ethan kept his eyes forward. He made his face calm. Inside, his chest hammered. A transport lift took them down, then across, then down again, deeper into the station. Finally, they reached a door taller than any he had ever seen. It was carved with symbols, crowns, moons, and a single figure holding a flame. The soldiers stopped. The leader touched a panel. The door opened without sound. Inside was a royal hall. It looked less like a station room and more like a palace built inside a starship. A long path of dark glass led to a raised platform far away. Lights flowed under the floor like slow rivers. On both sides stood silent guards and tall alien nobles in layered robes. Ethan's boots clicked on the glass as he walked. Every sound felt too loud. Halfway down the hall, he felt the air change. Like pressure before a storm, someone stepped from the right side. She was young, at least by Ethan's guess. Tall and slim, with pale silver skin and eyes the color of deep water. A small crown rested in her dark hair, simple but heavy with meaning. Her face was calm at first, like a statue. Then her eyes met Ethan's. Her breath caught. Her lips parted, and she began to cry. Not quiet tears, real ones. Sudden, shaking sobs like a dam broke inside her chest. The hall froze. Ethan stopped walking, shocked. "Ooh, are you okay?" he asked stupidly. The princess took a step toward him. Guards moved fast, weapons rising, ready to protect her from the strange human. But she lifted one trembling hand, and the guards stopped at once. Her tears fell onto her robe. She looked at Ethan like she had dreamed him for years and never believed he could be real. She whispered something in her language, broken by sobs. The translator in the hall caught it and played it out in simple words. "My mother searched for you," it said. The princess swallowed, trying to breathe. Her voice came again, clearer, full of pain and relief at the same time. "For 30 years. The translator finished. Ethan's stomach dropped. 30 years. That was older than most of his memories. Older than the life he thought he had. He forced his voice to work. "Your mother. Who is your mother?" The princess stepped closer until she was only a few meters away. Her eyes were wet, but strong. Behind her tears was fear, like she was afraid someone would take him away again. "The Queen," she said, and the translator made the word heavy, like a title that controlled worlds. "My mother, the Star Queen." A murmur moved through the nobles. Ethan saw faces tighten. He heard a hiss of anger from somewhere in the crowd. The soldiers around Ethan stiffened. Their hands tightened on their weapons. Ethan looked from the crying princess to the endless hall, to the raised platform at the far end where a throne waited. Empty for now. He understood one thing. He was not here by accident. And whatever the Queen wanted, she had been waiting a long time. A deep horn sounded outside the hall, low and powerful. The lights under the floor changed color, turning from calm blue to warning red. An officer rushed in and knelt near the guards, speaking fast. The leader's translator clicked on for one short sentence. "The Queen's ship has entered orbit." The princess wiped her face with the back of her hand, but her tears did not fully stop. She looked at Ethan with a strange mix of hope and sorrow. "She is here," she whispered. Ethan's throat went tight. His mind screamed at him to run, to fight, to do something, but there was nowhere to run. The massive doors behind him sealed shut with a deep lock, and far above, in the cold dark of space, the Queen was coming to claim what she had searched for across stars, across years, across blood. Ethan stood in the center of the royal hall, surrounded by strangers, while the princess who had never met him cried, like she finally found home. And in the red light, the empty throne waited. The royal hall did not feel like a room anymore. It felt like a trap that had already closed. Ethan stood on the dark glass path, with guards on both sides and nobles watching. From the shadows, Princess Sayla's tears had slowed, but her face was still wet. She kept looking at him like she was scared he would vanish if she blinked. Outside the hall, the deep horn sounded again. "The Queen has arrived," someone whispered. The guards straightened at once. Their armor caught the red light under the floor and turned it into sharp lines. A heavy silence spread, as if even breathing was not allowed. Then the far doors opened. Not quickly. Not with noise. They opened like the station itself was bowing. A line of royal soldiers entered first, carrying long banners that moved without wind. Behind them walked two tall alien officers, their steps slow and exact. And then she came, the Star Queen. Ethan had seen dangerous people in broken ports and pirate bars, but this was different. The Queen did not look violent. She looked controlled. Like a storm kept inside a glass cup, her skin was the same silver tone as Sayla's, but darker, like moonlight. Over deep water, her crown was not small. It was a circle of black metal set with pale stones that looked like frozen stars. Her eyes moved over the hall with calm power, and every noble lowered their head. Even the air felt heavier around her. Ethan's mouth went dry. His body wanted to step back, but the guards behind him did not move. The invisible restraint field around his wrists tightened just a little, reminding him he had no choice. The Queen walked down the path without hurrying. Sayla took one step forward, then stopped. She looked at her mother like a child who had waited too long for an answer. The Queen did not look at Sayla first. She looked at Ethan. For a long moment, her face showed nothing. No anger, no joy, no shock. Just a cold, clear stare, as if she was checking if the universe had lied to her. Then she spoke. Her voice was low, steady, and sharp. "Remove his restraints," the translator in the hall said, turning her words into simple English. Ethan blinked. "What?" The guard leader hesitated. The Queen's eyes did not change. Now. The first shot did not sound like a gun. It sounded like the air tearing. A thin line of light cut across the royal hall and struck the floor where Ethan had been standing a second ago. The dark glass burst into bright shards. Heat rolled over Ethan's face. A guard slammed into him, pushing him down. Ethan hit the floor hard. The breath knocked from his lungs. "Shield!" Someone yelled. A blue barrier rose around the Queen and Princess Sayla. The nobles scattered like birds. More light lines flashed through the hall, each one aimed with perfect speed. Ethan turned his head and saw the attacker. It was not a person. A small drone, no bigger than a helmet, hovered near the ceiling. Its body was black and smooth, and its center eye glowed red. It moved without sound, like it was swimming through water. It fired again. A guard stepped into the line of fire and took the hit in the chest. His armor glowed, then collapsed inward. He fell without a scream. Ethan's stomach twisted. This was not an arrest. This was a kill order. The guard leader grabbed Ethan by the collar. "Move!" The translator barked. Ethan stumbled up. His legs felt weak, but fear gave him strength. He ran as soldiers formed a wall between him and the drone. The Queen did not run. She raised one hand, calm even as death moved above her. She spoke one word in her language. The hall lights dimmed. The drone's red eye flickered as if something grabbed its signal, but it kept firing. It was not fully remote, Ethan realized. It had its own mind, or at least its own mission. Princess Sayla looked at Ethan through the shield, tears gone now, replaced by fierce focus. She shouted something to her mother, but Ethan could not hear it over the alarms. A side door opened. Near the path, Sayla ran to it and waved at Ethan. "This way." Her translator called. Ethan hesitated. Running toward the princess felt insane. But the guards were already pushing him in that direction, using their bodies as cover. A beam of light struck the wall behind Ethan and melted stone-like metal into a bright, dripping wound. Ethan flinched and sprinted. He reached the side door. Sayla pulled him inside. The moment they crossed the frame, the door slammed shut. The sounds of the hall became dull, like thunder behind thick glass. The corridor beyond was narrow and dark, lit only by thin strips in the floor. It smelled of cold metal and old air, like it had not been used in years. Sayla's breathing was fast, but her voice stayed steady. "Follow," she said. "Do not stop." 2 royal guards followed them in, then sealed the door again. Ethan could still hear distant shots and shouting, but it was fading. Ethan's wrist tag buzzed once more. The word "run" was gone, replaced by a symbol crown inside a circle, then a second symbol beneath it, like a lock. He stared at it as he ran. What is this? Why is my wrist doing this? Sayla glanced back. It is reacting to you, she sighed. It is not supposed to. That helps a lot, Ethan snapped, then immediately regretted it. Sayla looked like she had carried fear for years, not minutes. They reached a junction where the corridor split into 3 paths. Sayla did not pause. She pressed her palm against a hidden panel. A section of the wall slid open. Behind it was a lift shaft, no normal lift, just a narrow platform. Sayla stepped on, then pulled Ethan with her. The platform dropped fast. Ethan grabbed the rail. His stomach rose in his throat. Where are we going? Below the royal ring, Sayla said. Old passageways. My mother used them during the war. The war? Ethan repeated. Sayla looked away. Before my time, she said softly. But not before her pain. The platform stopped. Another corridor opened, even darker than the last. Here the walls were scratched and old burn marks stained the corners. Ethan saw a faded emblem. On the metal human letters, half erased. His steps slowed. Wait, that's human writing. Sayla nodded once. Yes, Ethan's skin prickled. How could human writing be here, inside an alien royal station? They moved deeper until they reached a small room with a single table and a smooth chair. A thin scanner arch rose over the chair like a bent arm. A laboratory old, hidden, and ready. One of the guards stayed at the door. The other spoke into a CUM unit, voice urgent. Sayla moved to a wall console and activated it. Dust lifted as lights blinked on for the first time in years. Ethan looked around, trying to understand. You brought me to a mind scan after we almost got killed? Sayla faced him. Her eyes shone, not with tears now, but with a hard need. If someone sent that drone, they fear what you remember, she said. That means your memory is important. Ethan rubbed his wrist. The buzzing had stopped, but his head still felt strange, like a pressure behind his eyes. I don't remember anything. I grew up on docks and cheap stations. I don't even know my real birthday. Sayla's voice softened. My mother searched for you because you were taken. Not lost, taken. Ethan stared at her. By who? Sayla hesitated. Many enemies, she said, and some inside. Before Ethan could ask, the door guard made a sharp sound. Movement, his translator said. Drones. More than one. Ethan's heart kicked. They found us already? The guard nodded. They are sweeping levels. Sayla's hands moved fast across the console. We have minutes. Ethan backed away from the chair. No, I'm not sitting in a machine while killer drones hunt us. Sayla stepped close, lowering her voice. Ethan, listen. That drone was not aiming at random. It aimed at you. It killed guards to reach you. That means this will not stop. Ethan swallowed. His mind flashed to the guard who fell in the hall. A stranger died because of him. Fine, Ethan said. What does it do? It reads sealed blocks, Sayla answered. Not your thoughts now. Old locks, old commands. If your mind was sealed, we can see who sealed it. Ethan's mouth went dry. And if it breaks me? Sayla shook her head. It will not break you. You are human, she said, like it meant something strong. That made Ethan pause. Humans were not strong in his life. Humans were hungry, tired, and always running. He sat in the chair. The scanner arch lowered. A soft hum filled the room. Ethan's vision blurred at the edges. He felt heat behind his eyes, then cold images hit him. Fast and sharp, a burning sky, a large alien ship splitting open, a human man in a flight suit, blood on his face, shouting, "Hold the line! Get the pot out!" Then a woman's voice, not Sayla's, older and trembling. "If they take him, they will use him to end the treaty," Ethan gasped. The room spun. He saw a symbol pressed onto a child's wrist crown inside a circle. Then, a hand covering it, hiding it. A new image slammed into him. A dark figure leaning over the child, a device flashing. "Forget," the figure whispered, in broken human speech. "Forget the crown seal." Ethan's eyes snapped open. He ripped the scanner arch away with both hands, breathing hard. The guards rushed forward, but Sayla held them back. Ethan stared at Sayla, sweat on his face. "Crown seal," he said. Sayla went still. The room seemed to freeze around that word. Sayla's eyes widened, not with fear this time, recognition. "You said it," she whispered. "You said the forbidden word." The guard at the door cursed in his own language. From the corridor outside came a soft, steady sound like metal legs tapping. Not one drone, many. Sayla grabbed Ethan's wrist and pulled him toward the back wall. "We leave now," she said. "If they heard you, they will come faster." Ethan's head pounded. But inside the pain, one truth was clear. Someone had stolen his past on purpose, and the moment he spoke that one word, it was like he had lit a flare in the dark. The tapping outside grew louder. Then the door began to melt. The hidden lab filled with a sharp, burning smell. The door was not opening. It was dissolving. A red line crawled across the metal like a living crack. The edge glowed, then dripped. On the other side, the tapping of drones grew fast and steady, like rain on a roof. Ethan's hands shook. His head still hurt from the scan. The word crown seal echoed in his mind like a warning bell. Princess Sayla pulled him toward the back wall where old pipes and cables ran like vines. She pressed both palms to a panel that looked like part of the wall. Nothing happened. Her jaw tightened. "Come on," she whispered, and hit it again. The guard leader stepped in front of them, weapon raised toward the melting door. "Move behind me," his translator said. Ethan backed up, breathing hard. "How many drones are there?" "Enough," the guard replied. The panel finally clicked. A narrow opening appeared, just wide enough for one person at a time. Cold air rushed out, smelling like dust and deep metal. Sayla pushed Ethan forward. Inside, Ethan crawled through. The space beyond was a service tunnel, cramped and dark. He heard Sayla follow, then the two guards. Behind them, the lab door gave a final groan. Something heavy hit the floor. Then the tunnel hatch slammed shut. For a moment, there was quiet. Then a dull thud shook the tunnel. The drones were trying to break through. Sayla did not stop. She moved ahead with practiced steps, like she had walked these tunnels in secret for years. Thin floor lights blinked on as she passed, reacting to her presence. Ethan hurried after her, shoulders scraping the tunnel walls. "Where are we going?" "To the command ring," Sayla said. "My mother will be there." Ethan almost laughed. "Your mother is the queen. Everyone will be there." Sayla looked back, her eyes hard. "No, only the loyal will be there." That word loyal made Ethan uneasy. He had lived among smugglers and small-time criminals. He knew how quickly loyalty broke when fear or money appeared. The tunnel ended at a vertical shaft. A ladder ran up into darkness. Sayla climbed first, fast and silent. Ev followed, his arms burning. He tried not to look down. Above, a round hatch opened. They climbed into a narrow storage room. Part 5. Human Choice, Alien War. Third person, approximately 700 words. Simple English. The command ring shook again. But this time it was not from enemy fire. It was from inside. A low boom rolled through the station. The lights flickered. On the main screen, shield levels dropped in a sudden ugly line. Like something had cut a rope. Officers shouted over each other. Shield nodes failing. Power reroute rejected. Internal access code used royal level. Ethan felt the room tilt. He grabbed the edge of a console to stay steady. He had been in rough flights, in bad storms, in cheap ships held together by tape. But this was a palace station built for war. If it was shaking, something was very wrong. Princess Sayla looked at her mother. Someone inside did this. The Queen's eyes were like ice. Yes, she said. They have waited 30 years as well. A new message flashed on the screen, this one from the enemy fleet. Open the dock. Deliver the human. End the fire. Ethan's stomach turned. They were not even hiding it. They wanted him like a payment. Ethan looked at the Queen. If I walk out, will they stop? A few officers went quiet, as if the idea was a knife. Sayla's head snapped toward him. No, she said fast. They will kill you. Then they will burn us anyway. The Queen did not speak for a moment. Then she said, very calmly, you will not be handed over. Ethan should have felt relief. Instead, he felt the heavy weight of the words. If he stayed, the enemy kept firing. If he left, he died. Either way, people were dying around him. Another impact hit the station. A ceiling panel burst, throwing sparks. A technician screamed as hot metal struck his arm. 2 medics dragged him away. Ethan clenched his jaw. He hated feeling useless. The Queen turned to her officers. Find the sabotage source. An officer bowed. We traced it to Node 7, maintenance section. Sayla frowned. That is near the old tunnels. The Queen's gaze flicked to Sayla, and near where you brought him. Sayla's face tightened, but she did not argue. She only said, then the traitor knew where we would run. Ethan listened closely. Node 7, maintenance, old tunnels. He had lived his whole life fixing broken things. He knew stations. He knew how power moved, how doors locked, how systems failed. He stepped forward. A guard raised a weapon, but the Queen lifted a hand, stopping him. Ethan spoke carefully. I can help. The Queen looked at him as if weighing a tool. How? Ethan pointed at the tactical map. You are fighting a fleet, but you are bleeding. From inside. If your shield nodes are down, you don't need a bigger gun. You need to close the wound. An officer snapped. He is human. He knows nothing of royal systems. Ethan held the officer's stare. A power grid is a power grid. A door is a door. Sabotage uses the same tricks everywhere. Sayla watched Ethan with a strange expression, fear mixed with hope. The Queen's voice stayed cold. You propose what? Ethan took a breath. Send a small team to Node 7, not a big squad. A small team that moves fast. You lock down the routes behind them. If the traitor tries to run, they hit sealed doors. If drones are waiting, you don't feed them numbers. The officer laughed, sharp and rude. This is not a dogfight. Ethan felt anger flare, but he kept his words simple. No, it's worse. That is why you need simple moves. The Queen leaned closer. And if the enemy fleet breaks our shields before your plan works? Ethan looked at the screen. The shield level trembled near a dangerous line. Then you lose. So you must act now. For the first time, the Queen's eyes showed something like respect, or maybe it was only calculation. Princess, the Queen said, you will remain here. Sayla's face dropped. Mother, no, the Queen cut in. If you die. The line ends. Sayla looked at Ethan, then back at her mother. Then send me with him. He will not know your station paths. The Queen's jaw tightened. She hated the risk, Ethan could see it. But she nodded once. Very well. 2 guards. The human, the princess. Ethan's heart hammered. He did not want to be the center of a royal strike team. But he also could not stand in a safe room while people died because of him. They moved fast. A side lift dropped them into the maintenance levels, where the halls were narrower and the walls were plain. The luxury of the palace vanished. Here it smelled like metal oil and hot wiring. As they ran, Ethan heard the war above them, dull booms, trembling floors, alarms in the distance. Sayla kept close to Ethan's shoulder. "If you try to run..." "I'm not running," Ethan said. "Not now." She studied his face as if trying to decide if that was true. They reached a sealed door, marked Node 7. The guard leader scanned it. "Locked by royal code," the translator. "Side. Override blocked." Ethan crouched and examined the panel. "It's not just locked, it's looped," he said. "See the repeating pulse? Someone made it answer itself. Like a snake biting its tail." One guard looked at him. "Can you open it?" Ethan pulled a small tool from his belt, a thin wire, and a clip he used for old cargo locks. The guards looked offended, like he had brought dirt into a clean room. Ethan didn't care. "Give me 30 seconds. Sayla glanced down the corridor. "We may not have 30. Ethan worked anyway. He connected his clip to the panel service port. The screen flickered. A warning appeared in alien symbols. Ethan's translator tried and failed to read it. He ignored it and pushed power through. The panel sparked. The loop broke. The door slid open. Inside was a narrow chamber full of power relays. Cables ran up the walls like veins. In the center stood a figure in a long engineer robe, back turned, hands inside an open relay. "Box." He froze when they entered. Then he slowly raised his hands. Ethan saw the mark on the man's wrist. The broken star symbol, the same as the enemy fleet. "Traitor." The guard leader stepped forward. "Down," the translator ordered. The engineer did not move. He smiled. "You are late," the translator said in broken English, matching the traitor's voice. Sayla's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" The traitor's gaze slid to Ethan. "The reason we waited," he said. "The human lock." Ethan felt a chill. "I'm not a lock." The traitor's smile widened. "You are. And you will open." One of the guards moved. To seize him, the traitor tapped a control hidden in his sleeve. The relays screamed. Pulse of dark energy rushed through the room, like a wave of pressure that punched Ethan in the chest. The lights died. The air turned cold. And on the wall screen, a new status flashed in red. Node 7. Shutdown complete. Station shields, 12% above them. The station groaned. Sayla grabbed Ethan's arm hard. "If the shields fail," she whispered, "the next hit will cut us in half." Ethan stared at the traitor, anger burning through the fear. He had a choice now. He could keep surviving, like he always had, or he could fight for a place that had been searching for him for 30 years, whether he understood it or not. And the traitor, still smiling, made the choice sharper with one final sentence. "Give us the human," he said, "and the Queen lives." Part 6. The Truth of the 30 Years. Third person. 700 words. Simple English. The maintenance chamber was almost dark now. Only emergency strips on the floor gave a weak red glow. The power relays around them clicked and whined like dying insects. Ethan's chest still hurt from the pulse. He forced air into his lungs and tried to think. The traitor stood near the open relay box, calm, as if he had all the time in the universe. His hands were still raised, but his eyes were sharp and proud. Sayla's guards kept their weapons aimed at him. One guard tried to access the node panel again, but the screen only showed the same message in red. Override denied. Shutdown locked. Above them, another distant boom rolled through the station. Not an impact, yet more like the shields groaning under pressure. Sayla's voice was steady, but tight. "What did you do?" The traitor's translator turned his soft alien words into simple English. "I closed your queen's shell," he said. "Now the next spear will go into the heart." Ethan looked at the man's wrist mark again, the broken star. You work for the Varkan, the traitor smiled. I work for the future. The Varkan are only the hand. We are the mind. We? Ethan asked. The man tilted his head. There are more of us, he said. In the court, in the fleet, in the service halls. We waited for you, human. We did not wait for the queen. Sayla took a step forward. My mother trusted you people. The traitor's smile turned cold. Your mother trusted no one, he said. That is why she searched alone. That is why it took her 30 years. Ethan's stomach tightened. 30 years of hunting, while enemies grew inside her own walls. No wonder the queen looked like stone. One of the guards moved closer to the relay box to cut cables. Do not, the traitor said. His voice stayed calm, but his eyes sharpened. If you cut the wrong line, the node will burn. The shield will drop to 0. The guards stopped. Ethan felt anger rise. So you can kill everyone by telling them not to touch anything. The traitor's eyes slid to Ethan. Not everyone, he said. Only those who stand between you and your purpose. Ethan clenched his fists. Stop saying that. I don't know my purpose. The traitor stepped closer, careful, like he was speaking to a child. You were born into a treaty, he said. A living proof, a witness with a mark, a human with a crown seal. Sayla's breath caught. So the crown seal is real. It is older than this station, the traitor said. Older than your princess. Sayla's face flushed with anger. Do not speak about me like I am not here. The traitor did not even look at her. You are here because your mother failed to hide you, he said. And because she could not stop thinking about the human she lost. Part 7, HFY, the human who became the bridge. Third person, 700 words. Simple English. The blinking device in Sayla's hands turned from yellow to red. A sharp tone filled the maintenance level, one clean beep that felt louder than the war outside. For half a second, nothing happened. Then every emergency strip along the floor switched to a deeper red. A new message flashed on a wall screen. Translated into simple English. Dock control. Override active ******** Bay 12. Opening Sayla's face went white. No, the guard leader grabbed his cum. Command ring, Bay 12 is opening. This is sabotage, seal it, Static answered. Then a strained voice. We are trying, controls not responding. Ethan's stomach dropped. If the dock opened, enemy boarding ships could enter like knives into a soft body. Above them, the station shuddered again. The shields were nearly gone. They did not have time for speeches or arguments. They had time only for action. Ethan stepped forward. Take me to Bay 12, he said. Sayla grabbed his arm hard. They will take you. Ethan met her eyes. Not if I get there first, he said. The guard leader hesitated. Human, you are the target. We protect you. Ethan shook his head. Protecting me is killing you, he said. If they board, they will kill everyone. I can move through tight spaces. I can break things fast. Let me do what I do. Sayla looked at him, searching his face for fear. He was afraid. But he was also tired of running. The guard leader made a decision. Move, he ordered. They ran. The maintenance corridors bent and dipped, connecting to wider service lanes. The sound of war grew louder as they got closer to the docking ring. Ethan felt the station's vibration through his boots, like a giant heart struggling to beat. On a wall screen, Ethan saw the enemy fleet's message again. Deliver the human. End the fire. This time, a second line appeared. Bay 12 will receive. Ethan's throat tightened. They planned this. They reached a locked door marked Bay 12 access. The control panel was dead, no light. No response. Sayla hit it with her palm. Open. Nothing. The guard leader looked at Ethan. Can you? Ethan was already moving. He pulled his thin wire tool out again and opened the panel plate with quick, practiced motions. Behind it, the system was not just powered off. It was cut, a clean cut, professional. Ethan exhaled. They want us stuck out here. He looked down the corridor. A maintenance shaft ran along the ceiling, covered by a thin grid. Ethan pointed. That shaft goes above the bay doors. We can drop in. One guard shook his head. Too narrow. Ethan looked at his own body, lean, used to cramped ship repairs. Not for me, Sayla's eyes flashed. I am going with you. No, the guard leader said. Princess, Sayla stepped closer to Ethan. He does not know this station. I do, she said. And they will not expect me in the bay. Ethan wanted to argue, but there was no time. He nodded once. Okay, you and me. The guard leader's voice grew hard. If you both die, Sayla cut him off. Then Mother loses anyway. The guard leader clenched his jaw, then gave a short nod. One guard with you, one stays to report. Ethan climbed first, pulling himself into the ceiling shaft. The metal grid scraped his palms. Sayla followed smoothly, then one guard. They crawled fast, the air hot and stale. Through gaps in the grid, Ethan saw warning lights and moving shadows below. Far ahead, the bay door's massive curved plates were sliding open. Inch by inch, a cold line of space appeared between them. Stars. Ethan's single quotes, S blood ran cold. Once the doors fully opened, the bay would vent. Anyone not sealed would be ripped out. Sayla pointed to a side panel inside the shaft. Emergency vent locks, she whispered. We can close the inner shutters to prevent full venting. Ethan nodded. Do it. Sayla opened the panel and started inputting codes. Her hands moved fast, but the system rejected her. She froze. It says, Royal Authority denied. Ethan's mind clicked. Because the traitor used royal level. The system thinks it already has the Queen's command. The guard whispered, then we cannot stop it. Ethan stared at the open line of space growing wider. He remembered the mind scan flashes, his father's burned face. His words become the bridge. Ethan swallowed. Maybe we can't stop the door, he said, but we can stop what comes through it. Sayla looked at him. How? Ethan pointed. Downward through the grid. A small control tower sat inside the bay used to guide ships. Its top had a thick cum dish and a navigation array. Beside it were cargo cranes and fuel lines. We turned the bay into a trap, Ethan said. A simple one, the guard frowned. With what weapons? With air and fire, Ethan said. Sayla understood first. Her eyes widened. Fuel, Ethan nodded. If we vent at the right moment, fuel mist plus spark equals a wall of fire. Not enough to destroy the station, but enough to stop a boarding craft from landing clean. The guard stared. That is insane, Ethan looked at him. It's basic, he said. Humans do basic well. Sayla's voice dropped. But the station may burn, Ethan answered honestly. If they board, it will burn anyway. They reached a hatch above the bay control tower. Ethan forced it open and dropped down onto a narrow ledge. The bay air was thinner here, pulled towards space below. Technicians were running for sealed rooms. Alarms screamed. Decompression warning. Sayla dropped beside Ethan. Her hair lifted slightly in the air pool. The guard followed, boots clanging. On the ledge, a dark shape slid through the opening bay doors. An enemy boarding ship. Small and fast, like a beetle with claws. It aimed for the deck. Ethan pointed at a fuel line running along the wall. There, he said. We rupture it. The guard shook his head. We need explosives. Ethan glanced at the control tower. Its power box sparked from the earlier sabotage. Loose cables hung, snapping in the air. Ethan's eyes narrowed. We already have a spark. He ran along the ledge, crouched low against the pull of air. Scylla followed, shouting something into her com, trying to warn the command ring. Only broken static came back. Ethan reached the fuel line junction. A thick valve sat there sealed. He grabbed his wire tool and jammed it into the valve's manual release. The metal resisted. He gritted his teeth and forced it. The valve broke open with a loud crack. A white mist blasted out, cold and fast, filling the bay in a spreading cloud. The enemy boarding ship adjusted, trying to land through the mist. Its engines flared. Ethan sprinted back toward the sparking power box near the control tower. The air pull fought him now, as if space itself wanted him. Scylla shouted, "Ethan, the bay is venting." He could feel it, his ears popping, his lungs straining. He had seconds. He reached the power box, ripped open the casing, and yanked two cables together. The spark jumped. For an instant, nothing happened. Then the mist turned into a rolling flame. Front, bright orange and white, racing across the bay like a living wave. The enemy boarding ship flew straight into it. Its hull lit up. Its landing legs melted. It spun, lost control, and slammed into the bay wall, then bounced toward the open doors toward space. The venting air caught it and dragged it out like trash into the void. Ethan dropped to his knees, coughing, heat on his face, cold on his back. The bay doors still opened wider, but the first boarding attempt had failed. Scylla grabbed him, pulling him toward a sealed service hatch. "Move, we will be vented." They dove into the hatch and slammed it shut. The lock engaged. Ethan lay on the floor, breathing hard, shaking. For a moment, there was only his heartbeat and Scylla's quick breaths. Then Scylla looked at him, eyes shining. "You saved the bay," she whispered. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. "Not saved," he said. "Bought time." A message finally broke through on Scylla's come clearer now. The Queen's voice. "Princess, report." Scylla pressed the com with trembling fingers. "Mother." Ethan stopped the boarding craft. He used fuel and spark. "The bay is burning but contained." A pause. Then the Queen spoke again, low and steady. But something in it had changed. "Human." The Queen said through the com, "You chose us." Ethan swallowed, staring at the sealed hatch as the station groaned around them. "I chose not to run," he answered. The Queen's voice softened only a little. "Then hear me. The war ends today, not because of your blood, because of your will." Outside the hatch, the bay alarms continued, and far away the enemy fleet still waited. But for the first time, Ethan understood the true reason the Queen searched for him. For 30 years, not to own him, not to use him, to find the one human who would stand in the fire and become the bridge between fear and hope, between two worlds that had forgotten what courage looked like.